that long day behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open, you'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and lend our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk the tavern. Promising beer and bedlam. The talk the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
Okay, and welcome to Talk of the Tavern. My name is Travis Sivart, and tonight my vices tonight are Coke Zero and a pipe with a nice English blend of tobacco. What about you, Ed?
Hey folks, my vices tonight are water and these, well, I was going to say big, yummy, juicy blackberries, but that's a small one, but it's still juicy. How about you, Andrea?
Oh, I thought you said boobs at first.
Boobs.
Andrea in the chat here. Yay! I just have my tea and I have some Pocky. So I'm very happy. What about you, Rachel?
I am finishing off my soda from my lunch because I have the appetite of a 7-year-old. Travis, what are we talking about today?
Well, first let's do an opening toast. So, our opening toast today is going to be, here's to living a long and healthy life, no matter how short it may actually be.
Yay.
So our topic tonight is, okay, I'll start out with the story. When I was a teenager, at one point in time, I decided I was going to end my life. I was going to commit suicide. This is a true story. And I did it because I was not going to, I thought I was going to fail a grade going from middle school to high school. So my plan was, true story, this is in the 80s, Toys R Us had a chemistry set that you could buy straight off the shelf with cyanide in it. And my plan was to buy that and use that. Well, fun fact, it cost like $20. That's a lot of money. I figured I'd save up over the summer, do it before going to school. Never made the money, and I'm still waiting to have $20. So here I'm still around, 35 plus years later.
So don't buy Travis's books. He'll kill himself if you do.
Well, no, that shit goes straight to bills. I don't see any of that. But there has been an article recently that has cropped up that there is a lawsuit, and this was on NPR is where I found this. There's a lawsuit that is accusing Amazon of selling suicide kits to teenagers. Now, looking through this article, it doesn't look like these things are labeled.
Follow me, please. It is definitely not a trap.
Well, thank you for that follow, Carlos. Appreciate that. It's,
Yay!
what's that?
We have a new follow. Yay!
So it doesn't look like it's labeled as such. But let's see here. The complaint filed in California State Court in September claims Amazon recommended that customers who purchased the chemical, which chemical was it? High levels of pure
Call it Chemical X.
sodium
I believe
nitrite.
it was- Yeah, sodium nitrate. It's used for preserving food
Right.
and things.
Also buy a scale to measure the correct dose, an anti-vomiting drug in Amazon's edition of a handbook on assisted suicide. So, and they say it's different from selling rope, knives, other implements that could be used.
How?
Yeah, well, that's what we get to talk about. So, what do you guys think? Did the algorithm screw up, or is suicide like, man, we hate making money off people?
I mean, from what I gleaned with reading the article and with the commentary I'd heard previously, is that it sort of seemed like the algorithm noticed that there's a pattern that people who purchased this had also purchased this.
Right.
But it's sort of very, very strange on who began this purchasing and who started doing it so frequently that it became people who bought this also bought. And it seems kind of just really, really weird that it picked up on that, because where did it start?
What's up, Ed?
Keep going.
Keep going. Yadri, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, yes. So the sodium nitrate is used for other purposes. That's what most people buy it for. That's what I would buy it for.
Mm-hmm.
A book on suicide, I don't see any other uses for that.
That's true. And I'm very curious about a book on assisted suicide. I mean, was it like, Kevorkian's autobiography? What was this book? Because, yeah, by the way, Amazon never responded. And it's stated that sodium nitrite is not intended for consumption. There's a lot of things you can shove in your gullet there that would kill you. But they still sell it. Like, is that a razor blade? What is that?
I collect silica packs. If you eat it, it'll kill you. It says do not eat. So when I buy these, are they going to say, oh, wait, you can't buy them because you can kill yourself with it? Mm-hmm. No, it's...
What if you just tell them, no, you're slipping in other people's drinks that annoy you?
It'll just stuff up the...
Well, that leads us into our second topic, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's some headache powder for you.
It's gonna fix my headache.
I mean, it's the same thing because you guys know that I make soap at home. I make a lot of vegan soap. I'm going into learning how to make milk soaps. One of the key ingredients is lye.
Right.
And not like what we do here on the podcast. Not that kind of lying. But
it's all truth all the time.
But like even to get like just a small jar of it, just food grade for it, there was like a lot of questions at checkout, and like the manager came down asking me what I'm about to do with it, and it didn't dawn on me, but a couple of years passed. Breaking Bad had that thing about they used lye to get rid of a body.
Oh.
So it might have, is this something that started with a pop culture reference that we don't know about?
Yeah.
Do we know why she was purchasing the sodium nitrate?
Let me finish looking through the... No, it does not say. It says that the newspaper that reported this, New York Times, said at the time it identified 10 people who had used a chemical purchased on Amazon to kill themselves in the previous 2 years. So,
what I would really be curious about is which purchase came first, the book for attempting suicide or the purchasing of the chemical?
It's a good question.
Because I think that also really that would depend on which one was purchased first, and then if they found if I use this chemical, it'll send me into oblivion. Because that might be the whole entire thing. Is maybe the issue is not with the purchasing of the chemical. Maybe the issue is they have this book.
That could be. What do you guys think? Is Amazon at fault here?
No.
No.
I mean, I really don't know how, because you have these vendors, and I don't think it's like Amazon warehouses doing it. I think it's vendors through Amazon, if I'm understanding it correctly. But there needs to be some kind of vetting for it, for safety standards, and I don't know if maybe this like slipped through somehow, which could absolutely be likely with how massive Amazon is with individual vendors. So saying who's at fault is kind of a strange thing to think about because of so many variables being involved.
I look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to blame the gas station for selling gas to somebody who burned down a house?
That's a fair point.
Well, we do sue gun manufacturers for making guns that somebody used to kill someone.
I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm saying it's what we do. You know, if you stab somebody with a screwdriver, I guess we can go sue Phillips. That's who makes them, right? Anyhow. So, and by the way, Maria says, I don't agree with it, and I'm not a fan of guns. Now, let's talk about another thing that Rachel found and brought to our attention. There is a conspiracy theory out there. So here's a fun conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory. They're coincidence notes.
He specifically mentioned conspiracies in the video. But we'll go with what you have. And feel free to jump in as you just did if I get something wrong here. Apparently, in some places in the U.S. and internationally, people are starting to work towards making euthanasia legal for reasons varying where you are. And by the way, I'm a supporter of euthanasia. I don't want to get old and decrepit and be a burden on Andrea or my family or that neighbor that keeps on wondering why I wander into their bedroom at night. Whatever. Don't want it to be a problem. But apparently there was a 23-year-old in... What country was it? Finland?
I think it was Canada.
Canada? No, hold on. Let me pull up the...
Correctly.
Oh, right. I can't pull up the article because it was in a 20-minute YouTube video. But anyhow.
There are several articles that he mentioned. That's why I sent it to you.
Okay.
Just because there's like 3 or 4 articles that he pulled up.
There was one young lady who at 23 went through an assisted suicide because she didn't want to be around anymore. But now that's horrible. Yes, we tend to go, get a little help, get a little therapy, see what you can work out, etc. But the fun part, the conspiracy part, is this is a grand scheme for population control. To let people go through all their childhood sucking that much money out of the economy and everything, and then once they're an adult, take them out of the system. Yeah, it's not terribly efficient, I'll point out. You think it'd be easier to just go, why don't we just sterilize people, cut it off at the root? So what do you guys think?
You also have that there is that adjacent conspiracy with Planned Parenthood for population control as well. But I mean that's a whole other mega topic for a different time.
Yeah, that particular video also included Planned Parenthood, every conspiracy theory that there's been out there for just allowing people to die, and COVID and everything else. He included everything there as far as people dying.
Yeah.
Paranoid, maybe?
Well, actually, I think in his case, he's just a smart guy that knows how to get views.
True.
Probably.
Because he seemed, by the way, does anybody remember Tila Tequila?
Very vaguely. She was that MySpace girl who did her own love show, right?
Right. And she was in the music scene for a while and apparently went nutso to the point where, like, not just like anti-Semitic things, but like straight up World War II Nazi Germany public statements. And it's now there was a point to this. It's I can't remember
Would
the
that be a
point.
reason for population control?
Yeah, that would be valid.
Are you talking about like leaning into eugenics?
No. This was definitely a tangent, but there was a point I was going to make with this tangent unrelated to our current topic. I researched her, and that's the point. There's somebody with the public eye who just says and does crazy shit. This guy in the YouTube video, by the way, she later also announced she believes the world is flat. So there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that always says intelligence and discerning. What do you want back there, cat? But Yeah, whereas this guy with the YouTube video, I don't know, has he had one that says it's flat Earth?
My thing about that particular one, though,
I
the
don't think
girl,
so.
I'm depressed, so I just euthanize me. Whatever happened to the day when we used to actually get help for people?
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, you want to talk about that a little bit?
What? Getting help? No, I had another point.
Okay. No, I was about to say, because I know you know how hard it is to get help.
Oh, yeah. So, anyway, I can get into that. But here, for the other part, okay. They say no euthanasia, no sterilization. We do that to animals.
Yep.
Are we so high and mighty that it's too good for us? I mean, I don't understand. I see both sides, but I don't see both sides. Just a thought out there. And as far as the healthcare, yeah. So, my child, a lot of people know that situation there. He's an adult now. That was a mess. It was really hard to find anybody to help because, oh, they're too young or they don't know. They'll grow out of it. It is hard. And imagine somebody with a young kid trying to get him help. Nobody wants to help. Or imagine someone with, someone older trying to get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Right. It's like, oh no, you take care of it. You've done it this long. Just keep going. It's really rough.
Right.
Can I share something that's kind of close to home with that for me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm trusting you guys. Since about the age of 12-ish is when I really started noticing that I had been really, really depressed. And I had a lot of anxiety. I'm going to try and do this without crying because I don't like the feelings. But growing up in a Latin household is the number one thing is that like you don't show your feelings. Like the acceptable feelings are joy and anger in moderation. So when I had even gone to my mom and I was like, no, I think I am depressed. It was very much a, just walk it off, take a salt tablet kind of mentality. So, so feeling very kind of just like, I have to solve this on my own. It was hard. It was very hard. I'm here now, but the way that I had dealt with it is to just not be alone with myself. And I think, especially with COVID and having to be isolated, you have no choice but to be alone with yourself. And I think that hyperinflated a lot of things that were going on, like with suicide rates. I noticed because I was friends with someone who was documenting this, that they had noticed that by 2021, there had been such a sharp spike in people attempting suicide.
Yeah.
I think it is that. I think it's that you are alone with yourself and you don't know how to get free and you're wondering if you're broken. And it's hard to get help. It's hard to try and say, no, I do need help. And then to actually go and find it, and to find someone who is there. And if you can't be there to see them in person, it makes it a lot harder because it's not personable anymore.
Yep.
Doing it, I understand the compassion and trying to make it readily available through things like webcam. It's not the same.
It's still, and I want to read a few comments here from Maria. And I'm going to scroll up because there was some other stuff here that related to exactly what you're saying here. I'm trying to find where it started. Okay, let's just start with some of the lower stuff. She says, if I'm in pain and dying, just put me out of my misery like Old Yeller. People die. It sucks, but it happens to us all.
Yeah.
Here's what I was looking for. Getting help is a struggle in Canada, at least where I live as well. hate to be the bearer of bad news, but humans are animals. That's referring back to when we're like, we'll put an animal down, but not a human being. Mm-hmm. And Maria adds into what you were saying there, Rachel, and that's if you can even find someone at all. And that is a big problem right now. Ed and Andrea, in the past few years, have both dealt with trying to find somebody to help somebody else. Or if you're ever trying to get help for yourself, when you have almost a year wait to get a mental health appointment, what do you do in the interim? What do you do in the middle?
And that's the thing I don't understand today, because real quick recap on my struggle. I have a 57-year-old autistic man living with me now, my brother's stepson. We've been trying to get him help through the state for a year, literally a year. First, it's you need his history from when he was a child. So after digging, we got that. Then it's like, there's always the money issue. What's going to pay for this? And it's been a nightmare, really, really a nightmare, which I don't get in this day and age when there is supposed to be so much out there to help. How come you can't find a damn thing when you really, really need it? Mm-hmm. And another thing, Rachel's story, I can relate. I remember being 12 years old. They have the same thing in a black home too, let me tell you. I was having a hard time dealing with some shit, but mine was the opposite in that I was teased and picked on as a kid because I was a bit of a nerd. So
same.
Being alone was my escape. But I remember my parents taking me to the doctor one time, and the doctor explained to him, he's having a really rough time dealing with some stuff. And my dad just saying, "You're a kid. You don't have anything to worry about." Huh?
I think we all remember that. And the further back you go, the less support system there was. So being raised in the 70s and 80s, not a Latino family, not a black family, these things were ignored. They were pushed under the rug. Until I hit my teens and my mother was dealing with it, then she still ignored it. When I went to her and said, you need to seek help, you need to do something, that's when she told me I need to mind my own business. And I said, I moved from a different state, came here, lived in a room in your apartment, sharing it with my brother and working 2 to 3 jobs. This is my business. And if it's not, then you can pay your own bills because I'm leaving. And it was very much ignored, and it's not perfect yet, but now it's better than it was then. But there is definitely some growing pains going on where we've realized this is not unusual. This is a human trait. Depression is a human trait. If we are not busy enough, Rachel, you do a wonderful job with do you call it a farm or a ranch? What's the right term for you?
I call it a ranch, but I mean, you can use it interchangeably. It doesn't bother me.
I like the word ranch because nobody has a ranch anymore. So I like ranch. But,
Wait. So if I'm particularly happy, does that make me a jolly rancher?
Yeah. That's right. And give me a second, chat. I will get to your comments in a moment here. So I think depression is a natural state when human beings we're not struggling to survive anymore. We go hunt our food in the grocery store. This is why, Rachel, I think you with the ranch, you keep so busy. It gives you something to do. The animals need you. You have reliability. Andrea and I have our cats. I have my writing and my music. Andrea has her music and her gardening. Ed, you have your camp. We have found things to fill our life to keep us going. And it's a struggle. I would bet for each and every one of us at any given point in time. Ed, I don't know. Maybe you're always happy, buddy. I don't know. It's
So here's one thing you also have to look at. As hard as it is to find mental health help, it's hard to be in that profession because
true.
Imagine the person working there and all their things coming at you, and you don't have anyone to see for your mental health as a professional, and then they get burnt out. I remember with my son, having trouble keeping a therapist for him because they would get burnt out and they would quit. And then he'd have to start over with another one. It was never ending cycle.
So what I'm hearing is Amazon could take up this ball and create Alexa therapy. And then you just talk to Alexa. And she'd
I
be
already
like,
do. It sounds like Sam Jackson.
what, Rachel?
I ask Alexa every once in a while if we're friends, and she's like, "Yes, we're friends," and then quizzes me. So,
Why do you ask? What do you heard? What
It's a
bitch you
trap.
been hanging around with? Somebody been talking shit? What's wrong with you? Let me read some comments. Maria says, and if you can find someone, can you afford it? Between the appointments,
Yeah.
the meds, taking the time off work or school. In the end, it feels like, is it worth it? Or will I sit watching cat videos for a few hours? Bree says, I feel like we have more stress as kids, especially when we're still developing, not understanding our emotions and still learning our bodies. Maria says, I feel like if we were given the tools as children instead of it being swept under the rug, we would have adults able to understand the struggle and able to help their children in turn.
Maybe onto something.
So, yeah, this is a cycle. This is a loop.
oh my gosh.
And population control, we mentioned it as the conspiracy, but it is important with the current distribution of food and rural to urban living. There is an unbalance there. We have enough farmland and food to feed the whole world a couple times over, but we also have money. And those two things don't go together.
No.
When you're...
But
Yeah, Andrea. Mhm.
another thing with that, being able to feed everybody. Okay. People suck. Remember when
Yeah.
the toilet paper shortage? Because everybody was hoarding it?
Ed.
People will hoard food instead of sharing with others so everyone could survive.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we're animals and we still hoard and we still have instincts such as this. And we're not the advanced beings we'd like to think we are. And Maria says, people suck so hard. Bree says, we need another plague. Nature has been
No.
trying to control our
Okay.
population
Trying to.
for a while.
Yep.
Just rip off
trying
the
to.
warning labels on everything.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
Let's call an end to this show and we'll cover that in another show. I promise. How about that? Okay.
Sounds great.
Any closing thoughts on Amazon suicide kits or population control through euthanasia?
I don't know if it's a coincidence, no. But it is kind of just very, very disturbing how people are going around safety provisions or outright legalizing it as a means of escape. So I don't know if it's to do with population control, but it is a little disturbing how easy it is to unalive yourself. It's very sad, and I really, really just, like, my heart goes out and I want to reach out and help and be like, no, like, I understand, like, let me help you, but what can you do?
Andrea, Ed?
I don't know. I'm the forever optimist. I believe there's always a reason to live until you get to a certain point, old age, decrepit or something. Depression. I've been fortunate. I got my way through it, and I hold on to that belief. It's always a reason to live because, God, I want to believe tomorrow's going to be a better day. The Amazon thing. No, let's stop the crazy lawsuits already, please.
Andrea?
As far as the Amazon thing or anything that you purchase, take responsibility for yourself. Don't blame it on everybody else.
Okay. And I'm going to roll the closing music while I give my closing thoughts here. Maria did say for the Amazon thing, she thinks it's just a robot being a robot. It was an algorithm that got triggered by repetitive stuff. Here's what I'll say. Guys, take care of yourself. It's not easy, ever. And when people do reach out to help, we withdraw because we're afraid, nervous, or just don't want to be bothered because we don't have enough energy to even reach out when somebody's trying to help us. You got to take care of yourself. And remember, tomorrow's another adventure. Let's find out what it is together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll drink to that.